Right, joining me now is Alex Irune. He is the Chief Operating Officer of Ando Energy Resources. Alex, always good to see you. I have to say, I think over the past day, everyone has been wondering why OPEC Plus would choose to slash production. And it's pretty striking that this is the highest levels that we've seen since 2020. Russia responding positively, and some are saying that this is going to have enormous geopolitical ramifications at a time where relationships, specifically between the US and Saudi, are important. Do you think, simply put, this was the right decision?
Hi, Eleni. Thanks for having me on. It's always good to be here. I think volatility is bad. I think we can all accept that. And one of the things OPEC is in place to do is to curb the effect of volatility, especially in the environments that we see currently, in global markets. I think if we go back in time, I don't believe this cut was surprising or should be surprising. OPEC, when we saw the slump in activity during the pandemic, we saw a $7.9 million barrel cut from OPEC members. We then saw consumption increase significantly over the next 6 quarters, outstripping demand by about 1.5 million barrels, at the time. Now, the Russia-Ukraine crisis has created, a tight market. We've seen some level of equilibrium return, but at the same time, we've seen OPEC also release another 1 million barrels back into the market. Now, what the OPEC members are saying is there is an imminent glut. We've seen price soften over the past few weeks up until the announcement. And in truth, you want to perhaps protect another collapse because I think that will be bad for the entire world, as opposed to focus, I guess, on the short-term, issues around, inflation, et cetera, et cetera. But we can talk about that a little bit more.
I mean, look, and it's such a good point, right? Because that is the sticking point, inflation. Where is that going? OPEC is saying they're predicting demand destruction, perhaps similar to what we saw during the pandemic. I want to talk about what Nigeria is doing right now. You obviously have operations there. Nigeria hasn't really been able to meet its quota, what its allowance is. But then again, all OPEC members are not meeting that quota. We've got a graph that shows that gap. Why is Nigeria not able to meet its production capacity?
Eleni, the main point is, like you said, all OPEC members are struggling to meet that, that capacity. And in practical terms, if you look at the cut that OPEC just put on, it's almost equivalent to the performance in relation to its ambitions, right? So there is some practical application there that means perhaps the cuts are negligible or not real in some regard. But we go to Nigeria. Nigeria's had a few challenges in recent times with pipeline vandalism and sabotage, and what the government has done alongside the national oil company is focus on the issues that are causing this and set up certain task force and investments to push these perpetrators out of the region and obviously apprehend those they can catch, but move us from a current production of what is about 900,000 barrels a day back up to closer to OPEC quota in the 1.5 million in that region. So the authorities are working, hard on this, and we believe we will start to see some positive impacts in the very near term.
Yeah. So, Alex, the other interesting narrative that has emerged from, pulling Russia out of the oil market is that other oil-producing countries, specifically in Africa, or that have reserves, would be able to fill that gap down the line. Frankly, it has been one of those sort of bright spots that we've been talking about on the continent, but never really been able to fulfill at a global level. What do you think will change now? Where Africa has this opportunity, African countries have an opportunity, but countries like Nigeria, for example, case in point, aren't able to even meet their quotas?
I think there's a huge opportunity for Africa to play a more strategic role in a long-term, mutually beneficial energy plan. I think this is how we must look at the energy ecosystem. We believe that Europe currently is perhaps in a tight spot with regards to strategic decisions made decades ago. I think the pipeline from Africa into Europe would have certainly been an alternative, and then we can consider how far down south that pipeline carries on. We've seen reserves found in Mauritania and other areas that make that ambition, certainly more viable. And we see other African countries that can plug into that. So I believe the conversations have started. I believe progress is being made on certain fronts. Certainly on the virtual pipeline model, on the LNG model, we're seeing more shipments into Europe to support the situation out there. But in general, look, Nigeria is a gas province with a little bit of oil. We have a significant role to play in that journey, and we're certainly ready, willing, and the government is ready to do this.
I want to quickly talk about oil prices, right? We're sitting at around $90 a barrel. Where do Nigerian producers want to see oil where it's not going to mean crisis mode? Because we've been talking about this break-even level, for certain countries. Where do you want to see Brent crude? Because we're saying now OPEC Plus decision might actually cause an energy crisis of a different kind.
I think the levels today will probably be maintained till the end of the year. I don't believe that it's an issue of break even or not. I think that the issues are multifaceted. There is certainly the requirement for investment. We've seen very soft prices from 2014 to about 2017 before prices started to rise, and then we saw the pandemic come and take out a lot of that gain. In that time, the investment required to ensure the reserve replacement ratios that drive energy consumption, i.e. on the demand and supply side, create enough energy for us to all consume. We've seen those distorted, and that investment must go back into where it needs to be. This is not setting aside gas as a transition fuel. This is not setting aside the renewable ambitions of even the OPEC member countries who are dedicating significant amounts to renewable projects around the world. So for us, it's less about where we want to see it. I think it's more about how we maintain, one, reduce volatility across our economies that are dependent on oil and gas. Secondly, is how we drive the investment ambitions of all the countries. And these sometimes require us to have the commodity within a certain limit and within a certain price range.
Yeah. I enjoyed how you evaded my question on a specific price point. Alex, Brent crude is sitting at almost $93 a barrel. I know that you had a tough time during the pandemic, like most oil producers, but we'll continue this conversation soon, and hopefully also in person. Alex Irune, thank you very much for joining us. Always good to see you.